Now, to today's topic. Today we're going to look at Zillow's Zestimate. We're going to try and map out, really the value of a Zestimate. A lot of agents do not like Zillow. They're a tool. You got a hammer, you got a screwdriver, you got a saw. Zillow's just a tool. But that said, rarely do I go on a listing appointment that the seller, when I make a recommendation or before I make a recommendation on price, after having studied their home, studied what's sold, what hasn't sold, and what is currently on the market, their competition, and arriving at a price, oftentimes the seller will tell me, well, the Zestimate says this, so we're expecting at least that. Well, today we're going to dive into what Zillow gets right, what Zillow misses, and what your home's really worth and how to go about evaluating that. If you've ever checked your Zestimate and wondered, is that really what my home is worth? This show's for you. Starting off first, what is a Zestimate really? According to Zillow, you can go on Zillow, I pulled this straight from their site. What is a Zestimate? A Zestimate is Zillow's estimated market value for a home, computed using a proprietary formula including public and user-submitted data such as details about a home, bedrooms, bathrooms, home age, etc., location, property tax assessment information, and sales histories of the subject home as well as other homes that have recently sold in the area. Updating your home details can make your Zestimate more accurate. A Zestimate is not an official appraisal, but it is a starting point to estimate your home value. I think it's a talking point at best. And we'll get more into this. It's, they say in most things in life, garbage in, garbage out. If they had the exact, if they'd walked your home and seen all the details, they could probably get a little more accurate. But unfortunately, they're relying on tax information. I sit on the Board of Equalization for one of our local counties, and I can tell you that square footage is not always right. Oftentimes it's off. So in fairness to Zillow, they're relying on what little information they have to arrive at a value. A Zestimate is Zillow's automated home value estimate. It's calculated using public property data such as tax records, square footage, that's where I think they miss it, lot size, MLS data if available, market trends, and user-submitted home facts. And point here, if you do use Zillow and you pull your estimates up, take the time to go in there, register as the homeowner, and add in facts. Where Zillow really drops the ball in their estimates, and rightfully so, they're not going to know that you've updated the home. Yeah, the home was built in 1975, but you've gutted it and done a major update. I mean, there's various details that you can add that will help the Zestimate be more accurate. So if you're in the Zestimates, if you're one of those that checks it all the time, as someone just this morning when I mentioned what we were going to be covering said, I look at mine all the time. You need to take the time then to go in and give it as much good information as possible to give it a chance of being right. Zillow is based in Seattle, Washington. Here's what I know. I've been to Seattle. It is a beautiful city, but I don't know squat about their real estate. I don't know that Zillow has been to Young Harris and walked your home. In other words, all they have to rely on is public data, which I think we can both agree is not always exact. Next, how accurate is it? According to Zillow, now this is from Zillow's website, printed it off. The Zestimate's accuracy depends on location and availability of data in an area. The Zestimate's median error rate for on-market homes nationwide is 3.2%, meaning Zestimates for half of all on-market homes are within 3.2% of the ultimate sale price, and half are not. Let that sink in. Half are not. For off-market homes, the median error rate is 7.52%. 7.25%. Check your home value estimate for free by entering your home address. You can improve the accuracy of your Zestimate by claiming the address as your home and updating the home details. Very important. I mean, that's right on their website. If you do follow Zillow's estimate of your home, you definitely want to add in as much information as possible. BAMX, source I rely upon, came out with an article recently. According to Zillow and real estate experts, for active listings, their median rate is just 1.9. For off-market homes, the median area jumps to 7.06. 82% of Zestimates are within 5% of sales price. 95% are within 10%. 99% are within 20%. That means your $800,000 estimate could realistically be anywhere from $640,000 to $960,000, a $320,000 swing. That is a big swing, folks. Today we're diving into something that we run into in real estate a lot, and that is the Zestimate. Maybe you've never looked up your home's value. I encourage you to. It's fun. To me, it's like the magic 8 ball from the 70s. You shake it, you ask it a question, you shake it, and you look at the answer. Well, I don't know how accurate it is, but it is interesting, maybe for discussion at next football game sideline. Folks, my name is Rick Andrews. As always, if you're looking to buy or sell here in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains of northeast Georgia or western North Carolina, specifically Union County, Towns County, or Clay County, I hope you'll give me a call. I'm at Century 21 Black Bear Realty. Our number there is 706-896-8633. Thanks for listening. Welcome back, folks. Today we're looking at Zillow's Zestimate, the dreaded Zestimate. A lot of agents don't care for them. I think they are what they are. I think they're fairly honest in what they say they are. This is from Zillow's website. A Zestimate is not an official appraisal, but is a starting point to estimate your home. From a marketing standpoint, it's ingenious because a lot of people routinely go on to Zillow, check their Zestimate. Keeps bringing them back. A marvelous marketing tool. All right, when Zestimates miss the mark. Zestimates often fall short when you've renovated your home, but Zillow doesn't know. You've updated kitchens, new roofs, additions, not always reflected. If the tax guy's not picked that up, Zillow's definitely not going to pick that up. Again, Zillow's based out in Washington State and Seattle. Beautiful area. Go visit someday. Your home is unique or hard to compare. Custom builds, view lots, historic features. That is the biggie in our area. I'm from Florida. Yeah, hate on me. In Florida, you can go into a subdivision and one builder built 500 homes, and you had a choice of Model A, B, or C. Now, there would be some variances within the kitchen cabinets and things of that nature, but essentially they're all the same. You go in there and you say, okay, are you Model A, B, or C? And you can evaluate it. Up here, most of our homes are unique. I always have to go walk a home, spend a great deal of time walking the property, the home, taking in a lot of notes before I get back to the office to do my homework, looking at what has sold similar and what is currently on the market. In other words, our competition to beat in selling. And there's where I think Zillow would have a tough time with our market, because so many of our homes are just custom. I just don't see how Zillow can get it that accurate given the distance and how unique our homes are. Additionally, views. The view of a home. One time I was selling a lot on Young Harris Mountain. I think they call it Swanson Mountain now. At the very top, one side of the road is a valley view. The other side of the road is a lake view. The lake view brings in a lot more money than the lot across the road. An appraiser made a mistake of relying on faulty comps that weren't Lakeview but the other side of the road. I was actually able to get the appraisal kicked out. Uh, Everyone makes mistakes. In that instance, though, it clearly shows that view up here is worth money. And again, Zillow's not going to pick up on that. Next, you live in a market with few recent sales. Sparse comps equals Zillow guessing. I will say right now, I spoke with an appraiser recently, actually two appraisers, and right now it's kind of hard. There aren't a whole lot of solds, and although we have more on the market, those haven't sold. They're just hopeful prices. So right now it's the most difficult time I've seen to comp a home in a couple years. Inaccurate public data exists. Wrong square footage or bedroom count can skew results. That's a biggie. That is a biggie in our market. You cannot rely on your tax card. I always recommend having an appraiser come in and measure because square footage, I see major 500 square feet is not unusual to be for the local tax board assessor to be off. So Zillow gets that and they think it's this and it's actually that. So again, in fairness to Zillow, it's their algorithm is only as good as the information they get. And again, Zillow is based in Seattle. The big time miss that the media jumped on a few years back and agents just love to jump on was when the Zillow CEO Spencer Ratzkoff sold a home for much less than a Zillow. There was an Inman article that covered this. The article reads, Zillow CEO Spencer Ratzkoff may have recently given real estate agents a gift they won't soon forget, a surefire way to show that Zestimates can miss by a mile. How? By selling a property for much less than its estimate. On February 29th, this was back in 2016, I believe, Raskoff sold a Seattle home for $1,005,000, 40% less than the Zestimate shown on its property page a day later. The gap between the Zestimate of Raskoff's former property and its sales price has decreased only modest since then. Now, that was back in 2016, and I honestly think they have gotten better. At the time, Zillow said, we missed. Zestimates on Raskoff's former home have certainly been overstating the property's value, said Zillow chief analyst. The fact that we witnessed and missed, there are empirical reasons we missed. That's a great conversation that real estate agents should have with consumers, he said, citing the property's irregular lot and location on a busy road as partly responsible for the Zestimate's inaccuracy. Zillow, again, folks, does not come out to your home and measure, nor do they see the view, its location, things of that nature. Next, smart ways to use a Zestimate. A Zestimate isn't useless, but it needs context. Here's how to use it wisely. As a conversation starter, it gives you a ballpark, but you'll need a pro to verify accuracy. To monitor general market movements, Zestimates change as market trends shift, which are good for big picture awareness. To update your home's public information, you can edit your home facts on Zillow. Your bed, bathroom count, your finishes to help improve accuracy. But don't base your selling decision solely on a Zestimate. Again, I think the one gentleman from Zillow that said it's a conversation piece, it's a place to start, I think it's dead on. If you want it to be more accurate, if you're a big fan of Zillow and you check your Zestimate, take the time to go in and register as the homeowner and enter as much information as they allow about your home. They can give you a more accurate, I think their algorithm will be more accurate with more accurate information. So I definitely recommend taking the time to get the information correct on the Zestimate. If you're considering selling a home and you're relying on that, please do that. How to get a true home value. If you're just thinking about selling, here's what to do instead. Get a CMA, a comparative market analysis done by a local expert who understands current buyer behavior. Last year, almost 50% of the appointments I went on was just to help people value their home. They weren't planning on selling. They were honest. And most of your local agents, if they're studied and have the time, they'll gladly do that, no charge. I help people, again, I helped a lot of folks last year with their home's value. Number two, walk your home with a professional. A trained eye picks up on features and flaws Zillow never sees. Number three, discuss market strategy. Pricing isn't just about value, it's about timing, competition, and psychology. I can tell you right now, I don't know where Zillow is, but the market right now is really, really tough. Oh, my little phone went off. Sorry about that, folks. So I'm not sure where Zillow is because we're in the middle of a big shift right now. And finally, and this is something I sometimes recommend. First time I got a $3 million+ home, I highly recommended us getting a pre-listing appraisal. I spoke with a couple different appraisers because at the time we just had not sold that many, over $3 million in our market. So hiring an expert is always worth it. Especially useful if you're in a unique or a luxury market. Why agents still matter, I think you can get a feel for that. My name's Rick Andrews, and if you're looking to buy or sell here in the mountains, I sure hope you'll reach out. As always, thank you so much for tuning in each week. Thank y'all and have a great week.